Find the least common denominator for 3a over a squared minus 9 and 6a over 2a squared plus 13a plus 21, and then write as equivalent fractions with the least common denominator as the denominators. So really we have two parts to this question. We must first find the LCD or least common denominator of our two fractions, and then directions are asking us to go back and rewrite each of these fractions as an equivalent fraction with our least common denominator as the denominator. So to find the least common denominator, let's take a look at the two denominators that were given. The first one, a squared minus 9, we know can be factored as the difference of squares, a plus 3, a minus 3. The other denominator, 2a squared plus 13a plus 21, that can be factored as the product of two binomials, those being a plus 3 times 2a plus 7. Now to determine what the least common denominator is, we look at all of the factors, and I see we have 1, 2, 3 distinct factors involved. So we actually pick each one of those and see at most how many times they're being used. So our least common denominator will be the following. Let's start with the factor of a plus 3. As I can see, a plus 3 shows up at most one time here, shows up at most one time here, so I only need one factor of a plus 3. A minus 3, at most one time in this denominator, at most 0 times in this denominator, so I need one of those, a minus 3. 2a plus 7 shows up not at all here, but it does show up one time in this denominator, so at most I need one of those. So our least common denominator will be a plus 3 times a minus 3 times 2a plus 7. There's part one of our question. Find the least common denominator, and we have found that. Now we must go back and rewrite each of these fractions using this as our denominator. So let's start with the first fraction, 3a over a squared minus 9. 3a over a squared minus 9. Now we know we just saw earlier that a squared minus 9 can be factored as difference of squares, a plus 3 times a minus 3. And now we want to rewrite this fraction using our least common denominator of a plus 3 times a minus 3 times 2a plus 7. And as you can see, when we compare our current denominator with the new one, we are missing this factor of 2a plus 7. Therefore, we must multiply the top by 2a plus 7. I'm changing what the fraction looks like. However, I am not changing the value of the fraction, because as you can see, these factors of 2a plus 7 would divide out, cancel each other out, and we're left with what we started with. So we're just simply changing the look of our fraction. So our last step here with this fraction will be to go ahead and multiply or distribute the 3a through the parentheses up top, giving us 6a squared plus 21a over the denominator a plus 3 times a minus 3 times 2a plus 7. So here is an equivalent fraction to 3a over a squared minus 9 using our least common denominator. This is a plus, by the way, I'm sorry. Let's do the same thing for the second fraction. The second fraction we were given, 6a over 2a squared, 6a over 2a squared plus 13a plus 21. And we saw earlier that the denominator could be factored as a plus 3 times 2a plus 7. And we want to rewrite this fraction using our least common denominator of a minus 3, a plus 3 times 2a plus 7. So again, as you can see, comparing our two denominators, we are missing the factor of a minus 3. Therefore, I need to multiply the top by that factor of a minus 3. So again, using distributive property, we get 6a squared minus 6a times negative 3, or negative 18a, over our LCD of a minus 3, a plus 3, 2a plus 7. So the final answers to this problem, like I said, we had a two-part problem. They first wanted us to determine what is the least common denominator, and we did that here. Least common denominator, a plus 3 times a minus 3 times 2a plus 7, and then go back and rewrite each fraction. So using our least common denominator as an equivalent fraction. So our first fraction being 3a over a squared minus 9, its equivalent fraction using our LCD is 6a squared plus 21a over the LCD. And finally, our second fraction, which was this one right here, written as an equivalent fraction using the LCD as the denominator, is given here.